The moment Piers Morgan sits across from Howie Mandel, you know it won't be a polite conversation, it's a collision course. Morgan, never one to hold back, challenges Mandel head-on, refusing to let his trademark humor dodge the tough questions. What starts as lighthearted banter quickly escalates into a fiery back-and-forth, where comedy meets confrontation and vulnerability slips through the cracks. Sparks fly as two powerful personalities push each other to the limit, creating a clash so unpredictable and raw that you can't look away for a second. When Piers Morgan sits across from Howie Mandel, you can almost feel the tension before a single word is spoken. Piers has built a reputation for being sharp, confrontational, and unafraid to press on uncomfortable truths, while Howie carries a very different energy, light-hearted, quick-witted, and rooted in comedy. But when two worlds collide, it creates a spectacle you can't look away from. This clash of perspectives is what makes their interaction so gripping. It's not just a comedian meeting a journalist, it's humor colliding with hard questions, a performer colliding with a provocateur. Piers starts off by setting the tone. His voice has that signature edge, challenging Howie on topics most interviewers would tiptoe around. He's not satisfied with surface-level charm or a clever joke, he wants to dig deeper, to break through the humor and find what lies underneath. For Howie, who has made a career out of laughter and relatability, this presents an unusual challenge. He can't deflect everything with comedy. Instead, he's forced to balance wit with sincerity, something that catches viewers by surprise. The real magic happens when Howie tries to pivot with humor, only to be reeled back in by Piers. That push and pull creates moments that are both tense and entertaining. On one side, you see Mandel's natural ability to lighten the room, to make even the toughest questions feel less heavy. On the other, you see Piers refusing to let the conversation drift away from its core. That tug-of-war doesn't just reveal differences in personality, it exposes deeper truths about how people approach life itself. Do you confront everything head-on, no matter how uncomfortable, or do you use laughter as a shield to survive the hard moments? For the audience, it feels like being caught in the middle of two opposing forces. Piers pushes boundaries, demanding answers. Howie pushes back, softening blows with humor. The contrast highlights the importance of perspective. Neither approach is wrong, but each reveals something powerful. Piers represents confrontation, the willingness to challenge, while Howie represents resilience through levity, the belief that even in darkness, humor can be a light. One of the most captivating parts of their clash is when the conversation slips into personal territory. Howie, who has been open about his struggles with OCD and mental health, suddenly drops the wall of comedy. The humor fades for a moment, and what's left is raw honesty. Piers seizes that moment, digging deeper, asking questions many would consider too blunt. Yet it's in that intensity where the most meaningful exchange takes place. You see Howie's vulnerability exposed, and for once, comedy isn't the escape, it's the bridge that led him there. That dynamic keeps viewers locked in. Every second feels unpredictable because you don't know if the next moment will be a laugh, a heated rebuttal, or an emotional revelation. The sparks fly not just because of conflict, but because both men are so skilled at commanding attention in their own unique ways. Piers thrives on disruption. Howie thrives on connection. Together, they create a rhythm that swings back and forth, leaving no dull moments. What makes it even more compelling is how relatable this clash feels. Most people, when faced with tough situations, naturally gravitate to one of these two approaches. Some take the Morgan path, direct, uncompromising, unwilling to let things slide. Others lean toward the Mandel path, finding humor in hardship, using laughter as a survival tool. Watching the two collide on screen forces viewers to question their own instincts. Which side would you be on if pressed into that seat? Would you face the fire head-on, or would you lighten the mood and keep it moving? By the time the conversation wraps, what lingers is not just the tension but the balance. Piers may challenge Howie relentlessly, but Howie never loses himself. He turns the sharp edges of confrontation into moments of relatability. And in return, Piers strips away the layers of humor to reveal the humanity behind the laughs. It's a reminder that no matter how different two perspectives may seem, they both serve a purpose. One seeks truth through confrontation, the other finds strength through laughter. That's what makes this clash unforgettable. It's not just an interview, it's a performance, a debate, and a revelation all rolled into one. Watching Piers Morgan and Howie Mandel go toe-to-toe is more than entertainment, it's a study in how two very different perspectives can collide, spark, and still leave audiences walking away with something real. When comedy collides with confrontation, the result is electric. That's exactly what happens when Howie Mandel meets Piers Morgan in conversation. On one side sits Howie, a man who has spent his life using humor as both shield and sword, a way of disarming audiences and finding light in even the darkest corners. On the other sits Piers, unapologetically sharp, built on pressing issues until he gets to the heart of the matter. This clash isn't just entertaining, it's a reflection of two opposing ways of navigating the world. And when these two forces meet, sparks don't just fly, they ignite. Howie Mandel has mastered the art of connection through laughter. His comedic timing, his playful energy, and his ability to turn even the smallest awkward moment into a punchline have made him a beloved figure for decades. Comedy for him isn't just a performance, it's survival. It's how he copes, how he relates, how he endears himself to both friends and strangers. But place that style in front of Piers Morgan, and suddenly it's tested like never before. Piers isn't the kind to sit back and laugh at a joke that sidesteps the question. He wants answers, he wants clarity, and he thrives on pushing past the walls people build. That's where the tension begins. Howie cracks a joke, easing the tension in the room. The audience laughs, they feel comfortable, they expect the conversation to flow in the familiar rhythm of charm. But Piers doesn't let it go. He interrupts, leans forward, and says what others wouldn't: "You're avoiding the question." In that moment, comedy and confrontation lock horns. Howie's laughter is an invitation to play. Piers's tone is a demand to engage. Neither one is willing to fully concede, and that's why viewers can't look away. There's an almost theatrical rhythm to it. Piers throws a hardball, and Howie counters with humor. The crowd laughs, but Piers doesn't. Instead, he digs deeper, challenging the premise, calling out the dodge. That contrast creates suspense. Will Howie stick to his comedic instincts, or will he drop the act and answer? And when he does answer, will it hold up under Piers's relentless scrutiny? The unpredictability keeps audiences hanging on every word. But what's fascinating is how these styles begin to expose deeper truths. Comedy isn't just about laughter, it's about reframing reality. Howie takes subjects that would otherwise feel heavy or uncomfortable and makes them approachable, sometimes even uplifting. Piers, on the other hand, represents confrontation as a path to truth. For him, sugarcoating is the enemy of honesty. Together, their collision reminds us of something important: sometimes we need laughter to face hard truths, and sometimes we need confrontation to cut through the noise. The beauty of their clash is that neither approach cancels out the other. Instead, they sharpen each other. Piers forces Howie into moments of vulnerability, where jokes can't carry the weight alone. Those moments often lead to raw admissions, places the audience has never seen Mandel go before. At the same time, Howie's humor disarms Piers in ways the journalist may not expect. A perfectly timed joke softens the edge, makes even Piers break into a reluctant smile, and reminds the room that confrontation doesn't always have to be hostile. It's this constant dance that makes the conversation so watchable. One moment, you're laughing with Howie; the next, you're holding your breath as Piers presses in with a question that cuts to the bone. That back and forth pulls viewers along in waves, never allowing them to settle. The stakes feel higher because each exchange could shift the tone completely. Will it spiral into conflict, or will humor lighten the blow? That tension is the engine that drives engagement from start to finish. What makes it resonate even more is how relatable it feels. In life, everyone has faced moments where laughter and confrontation collide. Maybe it's a family argument that someone tries to break with a joke, or a tense situation at work where humor masks discomfort. Watching Howie and Piers play out those dynamics on screen is like holding up a mirror. It shows the power of comedy to heal and the necessity of confrontation to move forward. By the end, you don't walk away choosing one side over the other. Instead, you appreciate the balance. Howie Mandel proves that humor is not weakness, it's resilience, a way of surviving the pressure of life. Piers Morgan proves that confrontation isn't cruelty, it's often the only way to uncover what's real. Together, they show that comedy and confrontation aren't enemies but partners in revealing truth. The clash may be uncomfortable, but it's unforgettable. That's why this exchange is so captivating. It's not just an interview, it's an experience where two opposite energies meet and neither backs down. Comedy tries to soften the blow, confrontation sharpens the edge, and in between lies something rare: authenticity. That blend keeps audiences glued to their screens, not just entertained but challenged, not just laughing but thinking. And that's what makes this conversation one of the most powerful showdowns you'll ever see. When you watch Howie Mandel sit down with Piers Morgan, you expect humor, maybe a little tension, and definitely a few heated exchanges. What you don't expect are the raw, unfiltered revelations that suddenly shift the tone of the conversation. That's the beauty of this clash: just when you think you know what direction it's heading, it flips. One moment you're laughing at a clever punchline, the next you're holding your breath as Howie reveals something deeply personal. These unexpected moments are what transform a simple interview into a gripping, unforgettable experience. Piers Morgan has a way of pulling these revelations out of people. His style is relentless, he doesn't dance around sensitive topics, he goes straight for them. Most guests either shut down or fire back. But Howie Mandel takes a different path. Instead of stonewalling or snapping, he leans into his vulnerability. That's when the walls come down and the conversation opens into uncharted territory. It's powerful because it's so real. You're not watching a rehearsed performance, you're witnessing genuine human moments play out in real time. Howie has been public about his struggles with OCD, anxiety, and the challenges of living in the spotlight. But when pressed by Piers, he goes further than he usually does. The jokes fade, the humor pauses, and his voice takes on a weight you don't often hear from him. Suddenly, it's not about entertainment anymore, it's about honesty. You can see it in his eyes, the way he chooses his words carefully, as if balancing the desire to stay light with the need to be authentic. For viewers, that rawness cuts through the noise. It's rare to see someone who is usually defined by comedy open up about the darker side of their life, and it resonates deeply. What makes these revelations so compelling is the way they sneak up on you. 1 minute, Piers is challenging him on deflection, accusing him of hiding behind humor. Howie fires back with a joke, the audience laughs, it feels like the tension has broken. But instead of moving on, Piers doubles down, asking, "Why do you always use humor as your shield?" That's when the mask slips. Howie takes a breath, and for the first time, you see the man behind the laughter. He admits that comedy isn't just his job, it's his coping mechanism, his armor against a world that often feels overwhelming. That's the moment when the room shifts. The audience goes silent, Piers softens, and Howie speaks directly from the heart. He talks about fear, about control, about how humor gave him a way to survive situations that might have otherwise broken him. These revelations don't just humanize him, they inspire. People watching see that even someone as successful and beloved as Howie Mandel carries battles that aren't visible on stage. It creates a powerful connection, because everyone has something they hide behind, whether it's humor, work, or bravado. And yet, even in these serious moments, Howie never fully loses his comedic edge. That balance is what makes the revelations even more impactful. After sharing something vulnerable, he might slip in a perfectly timed one-liner that makes the audience laugh again, not to dismiss the seriousness, but to remind everyone that laughter can exist alongside pain. That duality, the coexistence of comedy and truth, keeps viewers engaged on a deeper level. It's not just heavy, it's human. Piers, for his part, plays an essential role. His confrontational style is what forces these revelations to the surface. Without his persistence, Howie might have kept things light the whole way through. But because Piers doesn't settle for easy answers, the conversation breaks through to honesty. The clash between interviewer and guest becomes less about winning and more about revealing something meaningful. It's a reminder that sometimes the most uncomfortable questions lead to the most unforgettable answers. For viewers, these revelations feel like being led into a secret. You came for entertainment, but you leave with something much bigger, perspective. You see that comedy isn't always about laughter, it's about survival. You realize that confrontation doesn't always aim to humiliate, it can expose truth. And you witness how two very different approaches can collide and create a moment that sticks with you long after the video ends. That's what makes this conversation special. It's not the jokes or the arguments that linger the longest, it's the unexpected revelations. The honesty that slips through when the spotlight feels most intense. The vulnerability that emerges when humor isn't enough to hide behind. The courage it takes to admit that laughter is sometimes the only way to keep moving forward. Those moments are why people watch to the end. They came for sparks, but they stay for the truth. When a debate goes viral, it isn't just because of what's said, it's the energy that carries every moment. That's exactly what happens when Piers Morgan and Howie Mandel collide. The room feels charged from the start, like two opposite forces circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Piers thrives on disruption, on putting pressure where it hurts most. Howie thrives on charm, wit, and laughter. Put those energies together, and you get a spectacle that's impossible to turn away from. The energy builds slowly at first. Piers launches into a tough question, the kind that makes most people tense. Instead of crumbling, Howie throws back a quick joke, and the audience bursts into laughter. For a second, it seems like Howie has the upper hand, humor has diffused the tension. But Piers doesn't let go. He leans in, his voice sharper, refusing to be thrown off course. That back and forth creates a rhythm that feels alive, almost like a boxing match. Each punchline is met with a counterpunch, and the unpredictability of who will land the next blow keeps viewers glued to the screen. Viral debate energy isn't about shouting matches or chaos, it's about balance. Too much confrontation, and audiences switch off. Too much comedy, and the stakes vanish. What makes this clash so captivating is the perfect mix of both. Piers pushes the limits, creating moments of real tension. Howie answers with laughter, pulling the audience back in and reminding everyone that discomfort doesn't have to dominate the room. That push-and-pull dynamic generates suspense, and suspense is what makes clips spread across social media like wildfire. Every exchange feels like it could tip either way. Will Piers break through Howie's comedic wall and expose raw honesty? Or will Howie turn Piers's intensity into a setup for the perfect punchline? That unpredictability is pure gold in today's attention economy. People don't just want answers, they want moments. Moments they can share, moments that make them gasp, laugh, or shake their heads in disbelief. This debate delivers those moments in waves, never giving the audience time to settle. What makes it even stronger is the contrast in styles. Piers is direct, even abrasive. He asks the questions most people avoid, and he doesn't apologize for it. That energy demands attention. Howie, on the other hand, is playful, disarming, always ready with a quip that takes the sting out of the hardest question. When those two energies collide, the screen lights up. The debate doesn't just become an exchange of ideas, it becomes a performance, a story unfolding in real time, with every viewer on the edge of their seat wondering what will happen next. The viral nature of this debate comes from how it plays with emotions. One minute you're laughing at Howie's quick wit, the next you're leaning in as Piers corners him with a question that cuts deeper than expected. That roller coaster of emotions keeps people watching longer than they planned. And when viewers feel like they've been taken on a ride, they don't just watch, they share. They post clips, debate with friends, and rewatch the highlights. The conversation lives on far beyond the interview itself, turning a single clash into a cultural talking point. It's not just entertainment, though, it's also reflection. Audiences see parts of themselves in both men. Some identify with Piers, the one who confronts, who won't let anything slide. Others resonate with Howie, who uses humor to cope, to connect, to protect himself. Watching the two collide sparks conversations not only about what was said but about the way we handle conflict in our own lives. Do we lean toward confrontation, or do we lean toward laughter? That relatability makes the debate stick in people's minds long after the last line has been delivered. By the end, the energy hasn't fizzled, it's peaked. Neither man fully wins or loses, and that's what makes it satisfying. The audience feels like they've witnessed something raw, something unfiltered, something bigger than just an interview. They've seen tension, humor, vulnerability, and resilience all woven together in a way that feels spontaneous and alive. That's the essence of viral debate energy. It's not scripted, it's not predictable, and it leaves everyone talking. This is why clips from Piers Morgan and Howie Mandel spread so quickly. It's not just the words exchanged but the way they were delivered, the way the room shifted with each moment, the way both men refused to back down while still keeping the audience hooked. It's a clash that entertains, challenges, and inspires all at once. Viewers come for the controversy, stay for the authenticity, and leave with something they can't wait to share. That's the spark that turns a debate into a viral phenomenon.